إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار ثم أما بعد. We begin by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We thank Him for gathering us here today. وَمَا كُنَّا لِنَهْتَدِيَ لَوْلَا أَنْ هَدَانَ اللَّهُ. We could not have been guided had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not guided us. Today I wanted to go over the possible tests that majority of us will face. Vast majority of us. Because when you analyze it this way, you almost know I'm going to expect this one day, right? It's as if you know what's going to be on the test and you know what to study for. So I've narrowed it down really to 5 things. For those of you that are here on H-1B visa or on a scholarship visa, or you're here for studying, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make your road easy. You have more tests, sorry to say, because a lot of the countries in the Middle East, unfortunately, they test us a bit more. There's more sins you have to navigate through. One of the biggest ones being bribing and cheating. In many of these countries, you can't get to where you need to be unless you bribe or you cheat. Different shuyukh have given different fatwa there. I'm not comfortable speaking about the issues that are relevant to these localities. But I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make the road easy for all the students that are here on a visa and they're looking for opportunities to stay here. May Allah make it easy for you. Say Ameen. From the issues that we might face here, one of them, which many of you are probably speaking about right now, is marriage. Marriage. Right? And finding somebody to spend your life with. Your attraction to the opposite gender, I hope. Now, where is the issue in this process? The issue comes, you, my brother, you, my sister, you go and you find a job somewhere. And you work at this place 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Okay? And Sister Sumaya, very nice sister. Oh, let me help you with that. Oh, let me do this. Oh, what's your dad's name? Oh, what's your mom's name? Oh, remember that day we did that? Remember? And then slowly the conversations start to increase. Slowly you become closer, closer, closer. Slowly you're looking forward to work, not because you're getting paid, because you get to see Sumaya. You've created a problem now for yourself. You've attached yourself to somebody before you got married. Islamically, you shouldn't do this. Because you've opened the door for many, many issues. Many, many issues. The most common of which, I got a phone call just last night about this exact issue. The most common of which is you approach this sister and her family and they don't want you. Okay, now what? You've invested 4 years into this sister. 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is. You're attached. My advice, don't get attached to begin with. Don't get attached to begin with. If you are attached, I recommend you pray Salatul Istikhara and you make the dua of Istikhara. And you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if this is good for me, make it for me. If it's not good for me, prevent me from it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of you. But my advice really from the beginning, don't get to the point where you have attached yourself to somebody. Because it's going to be very difficult. This brother asked me for a secret nikah. I can't do that. That's not the point. And I would like to ask everybody, this is a very good criteria. Marry the sister, and to the sisters I say, marry the brother that if you had a child and they had the values of this person, you would be happy that that is your child. You're happy with this person as your son, as your daughter. Think about it this way. Do the values, do you want to have a daughter that will secretly get married and leave and run away? And you're the father. You have honor, you have pride. You've taken care of this daughter. And likewise, to the sisters, would you like to have a son that goes and steals the daughter of a family? No, of course not. You don't want to deal with this. So think about it logically. Take a second, think about it. Not tomorrow, but in 10 years, what's your life going to be like? In 20 years, in 30 years. So this is one of the main tests for many brothers, many sisters. They get to know somebody before marriage. You get too close. I spoke, alhamdulillah, with my wife twice. Third time I said, I'm marrying you. That's it. And before I even spoke with her, I spoke with their parents. They know everything is very transparent. I'm not, behind the bush, psst, psst. Look over here. Okay? Oh, we were looking at the same bush. No. I went straight to the gatekeepers. If you're afraid of the parents, to be frank, you're not ready to get married. If you're afraid of the parents, you're not ready to get married, just to be frank. Because really, as men, we put ourselves in the front. I want to marry your daughter. That's it. You don't want me? Okay, no problem. That's it. I don't even talk to her. It's over from step 0. Okay? So now, this is the first issue, the road to marriage. And the most important thing to know about this, to know about the relationship between men and women. What you feel in the haram way you've approached, may Allah protect you, may Allah protect me. What one might feel in the haram way they approach this relationship is not from Allah. It is not from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's from your own nafs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what? وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. When it comes to the pure marriage, the real marriage, the true marriage, the one that Allah blesses, Allah puts in that marriage affection and mercy. Allah puts the sakina in the home, that peace, the serenity. Allah makes her and makes you for each other a second, a home. This is the reality. So when a person approaches it the haram way, they might feel something. But this is just really, to be honest, this is not the right way to approach the marriage. The second issue that I see very often that we might face, the issue of friends. Al-mar'u ala dini khalili. Very well-known hadith. A person is on the path or the faith of his friends, his close companions. The people around you, look at them. Who are they? Who are your friends? Who do you keep close to you? SubhanAllah, there are brothers, you'll never see them hanging out with Muslims. Always they're with non-Muslims. And to be frank, to be honest with you, if you're hanging out with non-Muslims, you might have more fun. You might have more things you do. You might be more relaxed. You can do whatever you want. They're not going to judge you. They don't have this concept of Islam, this is halal, this is haram. You can do whatever you want. Girls start to come into the group. I'm not with these girls. I came with these guys. But she's here. Let me talk to her too. And slowly, 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 your values become more flexible. And you look at the Muslim, and the Muslim seems boring, loser. Why do I stick with this guy? Keeps telling me we got to go pray salah. There's still 2 hours left. I don't have wudu. I don't want to make wudu here. I don't want somebody to catch me with my foot in the sink. Fair point, right? But put your foot in the sink and pray your salah on time. It's better. There are things, subhanAllah, when you're with the Muslims, you will do that please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That it will please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the reality. But when a person spends all of his time with non-Muslims or with people that are far from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us the story of one such person. In the Quran, the person says, إِنِّي كَانَ لِي قَرِينٌ يَقُولُ وَإِنَّكَ لَمِنَ الْمُصَدِّقِينَ. There was a person, he enters Jannah, he's sitting with the people of Jannah, they're reminiscing about the dunya. Remember this day, remember that day? I had a friend, one of them says. I had a friend. Where is this guy? I had a friend. He used to say, oh, you're from the truthful people? You're one of those honest guys, huh? So when we die and we become dust, we're going to be resurrected, renewed? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask him, do you want to see him? In Jannah, you get whatever you want. Do you want to see this guy? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens a window for him, and he sees him in the center of hellfire. And he says, تَاللَّهِ إِن كِدْتَ لَتُرْدِينَ وَلَوْلَا نِعْمَةُ رَبِّي لَكُنْتُ مِنَ الْمُحْضَرِينَ. You could have turned me. You could have made me go with you. And if it wasn't for Allah's blessing, I would have been deprived. I wouldn't be here. He dodged a bullet. You know, sometimes there are criminal cases where there's one person who's especially the bad person. He's the bad guy. He's the one that's actually the mastermind. He's the one that had the gun. He's the one that planned the robbery. He's the one that told all his friends, let's do it. If you don't do it, you're not a man. What happens when they go to court? All 4 of them are taken to jail. All 4 are taken to jail. But it was his idea. Yeah, but you followed him. You opened the door. You made sure the perimeter was secure. You made sure nobody was there. He killed a man, you're all responsible for killing. You all get 2nd degree, 3rd degree, 1st degree murder, whatever it is. Everyone starts getting charged. This is the reality of what? Hanging with the wrong crowd. So again, this is what? First thing is marriage. Second thing, your friends. Who are you keeping close to you? Throughout life, you'll see this. Throughout life, you'll meet people, you feel they are really cool. You feel they are very important people, VIP. Right? You want to be their friend, you want to be close to them. SubhanAllah, I'm not bashing any masajids or anything, but many times, even within the masjids themselves, there are groups and there are cliques. There are people that run boards of masajid, but you never see them in the salah. You never see them in the masjid. They're never there, never for Isha, for Fajr, for nothing. Some of these people, when you find out about them, you find out even they are very accustomed to skipping some prayers here and there. Okay, how did this guy get to the point of leading the whole masjid? Because he's a very likable person. His personality is that simple. He's a cool guy. He's a guy, when you talk to him, you could talk for hours. This is not the way a Muslim thinks. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يُعْجِبُكَ قَوْلُهُ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَيُشْهِدُ اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا فِي قَلْبِهِ وَهُوَ أَلَدُّ الْخِصَامِ وَإِذَا تَوَلَّى سَعَى فِي الْأَرْضِ لِيُفْسِدَ فِيهَا وَيُهْلِكَ الْحَرْثَ وَالنَّسْلَ. This is the same person Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes. From the people are those, when you look at them, they are amazing. You're mesmerized. And he will swear, I'm a Muslim. But when he turns away, what does he do? He keeps causing issues. These are the same people in the masajid. They keep trying to bring things in. Let's put a Christmas tree in there. Let's show that we're all together. You're like, what the heck? Why is there, what are you talking about? One of the masjids here, they said, let's create an area for the sisters. This was many years ago. One of the sisters, subhanAllah, yani what kind of mind do you have? Can we play music in the sisters area? The whole conversation shifted from can we play music in the masjid from should we have a sisters area? Project shut down. Just from that. So there are people you might be very interested, very excited to be with, but they're terrible for your Islam. They take you away from the Islam. The third point, which is our work. Our work. SubhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written your rizq. Do we believe this? Do I believe Allah has written for me is going to be throughout my life $2 million, $3 million, whatever. The way you get that money does not matter. You will get that total. Your compensation will always be the same. If you go and rob a bank, or if you go and you do a halal work, you will get the same amount. You will get the same. You will not get $1 more, you will not get $1 less. You will always get what you are supposed to get. So why do people go to find a job that is maybe not halal? That is in an industry that is not halal. I'm going to call out some fields here, some industries here. And I do this to warn you. Did the Prophet ﷺ warn people only for the things that they liked? No. He warned them even from the things that they didn't like. Imagine there's a billionaire in the front row, and I tell him the guy who's broke next to you, he's equal to you. He's better than you. Imagine the owner of Bilal radiallahu an needs to respond to the call of Bilal for salah. He owned him one day. Why do I have to listen to this guy? I need to follow him. I need to come to his salah. So the Prophet ﷺ forced things on the people that was against their own desire. This is just a reality. So I need to warn you about certain fields that really you will fall into haram. There's no way. One of them, the banking industry. The banking industry. I want you to ask yourself a question. I don't even need to go fatwas or this sheikh, that sheikh, whatever. Simple question for you. Can you imagine today, bring any companion. Do you see them working at a bank? Let's talk about your annual percentage. Let's see how much we can get. 5%, 3%, 4%? Brother, this is better than the halal finance. Do you imagine this? Do you imagine, oh, we made $50 million on this interest-based loan today. I'm just calculating it. I'm giving it back to the bank. I'm not part of it. I'm just accounting it. Oh, these loans you've given, by the way, I don't believe in it, but these loans you've given, they're high risk. Maybe you should find, better candidates. The industry itself is not for us. I'm sorry to say. I don't say this. I know many people have pursued these industries. The corporations that will be the first to give you jobs are banks. They're banks. Why? They print the money. They don't care. I can get tens of thousands of employees if I want to. But wallahi al-azim, I swear by Allah, you will not get an extra dollar if you work for a bank versus something halal. But you will have to wait a little bit more. Allah will test you. He will see what you're made of. He will see. And He will prove to you. And He will show you too. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will show you on the day of judgment. What would have happened if you waited a little bit longer? Wallahi al-azim, He will show you. He will show you if you waited an extra month, 2 months, that offer that would have come into your mailbox. He would have showed you the day before your visa expired, that offer that will come to you. He would have showed you what your iman would have gotten you. Wallahi al-azim. So I warn you, and I warn myself, don't waste your time in a halal industry. Just don't waste your time. Make an intention now, whatever I do, it's going to be halal. I don't care. My money will be halal. The final thing that I must discuss is the issue of interest. Interest. I'm amazed how easy it has become today for people to take interest-based loans. 3 primary areas where you will ever get interest. Do people use interest to buy groceries? Just let's be honest. No. Do they use it for gas? No. Do they use it for their books? No. Nobody goes, give me a good loan on this book. I've paid it off, Maybe some of you do the afterpay, but, pay it off within the time limit. But most people, when they buy things, they don't think interest. When do they think interest? When they're trying to buy a house, when they're trying to buy a car, or when they're looking to get an education at a fancy school and they can't afford it. Let's be honest. This is the only time you'll ever face interest. But subhanAllah, the argument I hear always is, well, if I don't get a mortgage, I won't be able to buy a house. Brother, that's the only time in your life you'll be tested with interest. That's the only time. So you're saying the one test that's included for you about interest, that one test you're going to say, no, I'm going to fail this one, it's too hard. I'll make it up in the other ones. Just the other day, I spoke with a brother. He's over 70 years old. He told me he bought a house on mortgage. He's paid it off now many years ago. What should he do? I told him, make a perfect wudu, pray 2 rak'at, and repent. What you did was wrong. And I said, honestly, if I ask you, honestly answer me. If you didn't get the house with the mortgage, where would you be? He said, wallahi, probably the same house. The same house. I would have bought the same house. I just needed to wait a little bit longer. This is the reality. Sabr, patience. It's not a function of, oh, I need to do this because the price is going to go up. Just throw that stuff in the trash. The only thing, the 4 main issues you will face in life, get through these, you'll get very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 1, when you're getting married, the road to marriage. Number 2, the work that you're going to find. Number 3, the friends you're going to make. And number 4, these interest transactions. There's only a few of them you'll ever face. Aside from that, may Allah protect you, protect me. There's not much more you will face. So just try to stay strong in a few of these areas, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that whatever we have prevented you from the major sins, as long as you avoid it, we will forgive everything other than that. Everything else will be erased. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding. Allahumma ja'alna min alladhina yastami'una al-qawla fayattabi'una ahsana. Aqulu qawli hadha fastaghfirullahu li wa lakum fastaghfiruhu innahu huwal ghafurur rahim.